And then Ecclesiastes 5:8. So try ECC. Now, this one I pointed out because this is I've seen this be used as an excuse in my eyes. It says, if you see the oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at the matter. For he that is higher than the highest regards, and there shall be higher than they. Now, I've seen this taken out of context and saying, well, when we see oppression of the poor, or when we see injustices, or when we see perversion of judgments, we're not supposed to marvel. It's supposed to be okay. It's what's supposed to happen. That's not what the scripture is saying. What it is there is always the wicked amongst us. There's the wheat and the tare. So, in the sense of marveling not, it is something that happens within our generations. Wickedness is something that is sin is in the world, right? So I saw someone put that sin is sin. All people sin. Yes, sin is in the world. So in that sense, I shouldn't be marveling because I know that sin exists. This is not saying, because we show the other scripture, this is not saying, therefore, because you're not tomorrow, you are to do nothing, or you're to say, this is not my fight, or I'm not going to speak up, or I'm just going to, just close my eyes or what. That's not what that's saying. So we can't use that scripture as an excuse.
Unless you're done with that verse. Do not marvel. That means don't be surprised. Don't let it shock you. That doesn't mean don't get emotional about it. We should be emotional about issues of injustice. It should pull on our heartstrings. It should definitely pull our heartstrings. It should make us angry. We should have indignation, righteous indignation. We should feel empathy and sympathy for the victims. These are all emotions that we should feel. Why? Because Yahuwah feels these things. And if we are to be people who worship him, pray to him, and we have a relationship with him, well, then you should be reflecting his character and his heart when it comes to these issues. Apathy is not a reflection of Yahuwah's heart. It's not. So, yeah, that was an annoying verse that was brought up to try to find a loophole to justify apathetic behavior and mentality and spirit.
And I just have one more. Deuteronomy 4:1-7. Okay. 1-7. And it says, now therefore hearken, O Yisrael. Oh.
Yeah, lucky my wife is here. She just advocated. She advocated for you people commenting a second time. She said she wants to address the comments. So I guess we're going to do that as well afterwards, okay? Because she's going to predominantly take care of that.
So Deuteronomy 4 at the beginning. Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and to the judgments, which I teach you to do them, that you may live and go in and possess the land which Yahuwah God of your fathers gives you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahuwah your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what Yahuwah did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that followed Baal Peor, Yahuwah your God destroyed them from among you. Verse 4. But you did not cleave to Yahuwah your God. But you that did cleave, to Yahuwah your God are alive, every one of you this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahuwah my God commanded me, that you should do so in the land whither you go possess. Keep therefore and do, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who has God so near to them as Yahuwah your God, and all the things that we call upon him for? There's a few reasons I wanted to bring up this verse. One of my main points is not all of our law, and I'm talking about Torah keepers, is based upon us living in the land. And I think many take that attitude that if we're not, it's actually contradictory. They take the attitude, because we're not living in our land and because we're not a unified nation yet, waiting for Messiah's return, that we therefore cannot act upon the Torah. And yet at the same, how do you say when you talk out of talking out two sides of your mouth? At the same time, they'll say, well, we need to live by the Torah. We need to abide by it, even though we're in exile. Not every aspect of our Torah, of the laws that we're to follow, is solely based on where we live as being in the law. There are certain things we need the temple. There's certain aspects that are very specific as we can't add or diminish from the Torah, but these acts of injustices, that doesn't mean that we can just be, oh, well, we're not in our land, therefore I'm going to be silent. And two, some other things are, people saying that if they're not Israelites, then we should also turn a blind eye. I would say that's not the case either. In Deuteronomy 4:1-7, if we were to only obey the Torah, and I'm talking specifically to those who say it's supposed to be in the land, then that means that you're saying that we can sin and it would be justified. So I like to take the argument all the way. And then that means we can kill, steal, not wear seeds, oppress the foreigners, not care for the orphans or widows because we are not in our land. So for those who have that argument, I want you to really look at what you're saying and why you're saying it. And I think it's just to be, he said, apathetic, to be complacent, because or simply because we're afraid of the issues and don't want to talk about it. I mean, some things we have to just kind of wrestle with the heart and Yahuwah. So those are things I really wanted to note there.
Thank you. All right. Good stuff. Let's go back to my notes. All right, let's see here.